name is Alexandra, and welcome to our new mini series of Top Engineering Challenge winners. Thank you for being with us here today, Frede.
Yeah.
To start Ennomotive, we've decided to create this new series so that everyone, including our viewers and our engineers, can get to know better the best challenge winners so far, including yourself. And the interview is based on 3 parts. So the first part is the introduction, then we have the motivations for participating in the engineering challenges, and lastly, we have the final learning moments. Each part will have approximately 4 to 5 questions that I'll be asking you, where you'll be able to share with us your experience of solving and winning a challenge.
Good.
Great. So firstly, we'll be doing part 1. So if you could briefly introduce yourself, that'd be great. Like, where are you from? Where do you currently live?
Yeah, so my name is Frede Jensen. I'm a product developer in the medical devices industry. I originate from Denmark. Lived there as a young man, lived some years in France, and I've lived a little more than 30 years now in the United Kingdom.
And what do you dedicate yourself to?
I've done a lot of things over the years. I tend to dedicate myself to things I find easy. In a way that if something is difficult, I tend to think if I find it difficult and someone else finds something easy, it's probably not where my talent is, and I tend to not go there.
Okay.
I tend to go at things where I think I have a talent. There's things I find easy and other people seem to say is difficult. It's not always easy to find, but I tend to go for things that are easy. And things like I'm working in at the moment is respiratory care, life support systems, in particularly for babies and very premature babies. That's something that gives me satisfaction. I feel like I'm quite productive. I achieve a lot. I find it easy. Always go for things that are easy.
That's great. It's very interesting. And why did you choose engineering as your studies?
Again, it is simply where I was most productive, where I had the best results. I've done many things in my life, but engineering, I just tend to produce the most, and it satisfies me the most.
Okay. Now we'll be going to part 2, which is motivations for participating in engineering challenges. So I'd like to ask you, how exactly did you find Ennomotive?
Yeah, it probably started in February, March last year when there was a big alarm about COVID. The alarm particularly said that there's going to be a shortfall of respiratory care ventilators. Many nations were calling on engineers to find new ways and try to supplement these low stocks of ventilators. So I thought I may have something I could contribute. So I did a search online and I found a challenge at Ennomotive. That's really how I found them. I joined that challenge called COVID-19 emergency ventilator.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you next. I was going to ask you, what was the challenge you participated in, if you could tell our viewers, and why did you decide to participate?
Just because I thought I had something I could contribute. It's an area I worked in for some years. I find it easy. So if there was a need, I thought I could do something. I did look around. There were several challenges around the world, but the Ennomotive one just looked very easy to apply. I did email several other consortium that was setting up groups, but they received thousands of emails from all kinds of people. The Ennomotive, if I could say, the interface was so much easier. It was more straightforward. Mm-hmm. So I picked the easy one.
Of course, fair enough, right? And did you invest a lot of time in preparing your first submission for the challenge?
Yeah, no, I didn't actually. The deadline was already very short. I'm possibly spent 3 to 5 days.
Oh.
But it was 3 to 5 days where you work at least 15 hours a day.
Yeah.
To get something. I put a concept proposal together in about 1 week.
Okay, great. And did you want to win, or was it more about gaining experience?
No, it was not. It was simply about being able to contribute something. The concept I developed probably had, say, 20 key core features in it. And I wrote in the submission, I would be happy if they can just use one of those features, if it was transferable to something else. So I didn't do it for experience, and I didn't do it for winning. I did it mainly for being able to contribute, for able to apply myself.
No, of course, and given the difficult situation, the pandemic, I can only imagine. And did you have any prior experience with this kind of challenge, as you mentioned earlier?
No. All design engineering is challenges. I'm doing that for most of my life, but I have never really submitted to a challenge like the one at Ennomotive. No, never. It was the first time.
Okay, well, there's a first time for everything, right?
Yeah.
And okay, now we'll be going to part 3, which is finalizing learning moments. And I'd like to ask you, how did you come up with the solution?
As I just really looked at my back catalogue of experiences, I took a little from different products I worked on in the past, combined it in together to create a concept. It was not a totally finished concept, but it was fairly advanced. My experience, of course, came from life support ventilation of babies. Mm-hmm. And some of it I did find during the development was not quite translatable into adult use. Adults have much bigger lungs and so on. So there was some learning there, but really I really took solutions that I already knew. Of course, we needed the simplest. The challenge was to get through 10,000 ventilators in 6 weeks. So we had to simplify things. So I did a lot of simplification of those existing solutions that I knew. Okay, and did you work independently or within a group? No, we worked within a group. I did a concept, submitted a large document with a concept, but it was not finished. They need a lot of development. And Ennomotive found a development team in Spain, in Madrid. Fantastic guy, really clever. They sorted out all the details. We talk daily, developing this, but I did all the hands-on in Spain. And that's not all that happened, because once we had, it only took us about a week and a half, 2 weeks to get the first prototype. Mm-hmm. Then they took it to a hospital in Madrid. So there's a hospital involved, part of the team, giving us a lot of clinical insights, feedback. We came back with a few items we wanted to change in the product in response to their needs. And later in the product, in the project, we had a manufacturer joining us. So they productionized it, setting up a production system, and start making them very efficiently as well. So I mentioned the hospital, the clinicians. There was a communications expert brought in, helped to get more funding in, and also helping to start selling it, because it's good enough making it, but we need someone to take it at the other end of it. Of course. So there's a lot of communication going on. Ennomotive themselves, they have a team of people, and they were very much involved in. I worked heavily with them on developing all the regulatory documentation. We had to submit like a 250-page design dossier. Oh wow! To the regulatory authorities in Spain for them to approve its use on humans. So there was a lot. There must have been at least 25 people involved. Oh, that's a big group then. Yeah, it's a big group, and it went really well, surprisingly well. No, that's great. I was going to ask you what you thought were the benefits of working in a group. yeah, this group here was definitely good. I worked in large multinational corporations, and when we develop something in those organizations, you have different departments being involved, and often you have some department agendas that are slightly in conflict. You're spending a lot of your time on politics in an organization. There are some personal agendas as well, and there was none of this in this particular group here, and that was really probably because it was about COVID. Everyone had a very strong common purpose, so it was a very coherent team. We didn't know each other, but we knew we had to work together, and we started immediately. That was very little ice-breaking introduction. We just got on with it together. Very coherent team. And you know, it's just like in sport, a coherent team will always win.
That's true.
And that was surprising for me. That was really good. How quickly we got together and how many people really worked on that same course, same common purpose. That went well. That was a success factor in this project, I believe, a big one.
So that's excellent to hear. I'm very happy to hear that. And how was working remotely for a foreign company? How was that? And would you do it again?
I have experience in working with development organizations in different countries. The company I worked for, we had factories in China, Singapore. So I had quite a lot of experience with that. I didn't find it difficult. It was, again, because we gelled and cohered very quickly. It went a lot easier than I thought it would. Like home, I'm working from home at the moment still due to COVID, and I always thought that would never work, but it does actually work. It worked a lot better than I thought it would, and I think it's something I've learned to take forward. I think I could do more of.
That's good.
Remotely with different countries is not difficult.
That's great. No, that's great. So our viewers can see that and start participating as well. And speaking of, we're down to our last question, which is what recommendations or what advice would you give to other engineers across the globe?
Engineers tend to be quite analytical people, so they tend to know what they want. But certainly to younger engineers, I would advise us find out what you're good at, your talent, and then pursue that. As I said, it's my own philosophy is really just to do things you find easy. It makes you happy, rather than doing things you find difficult. And a place like a crowd approach platform like Ennomotive, it gives you an exposure. It gives you an opportunity to apply what you're good at. There's many different challenges. You wouldn't join them all. You couldn't, and you shouldn't. If something you're not good at, then you won't find satisfaction in it. But you will find that joining a platform like Ennomotive, it gives you those opportunities to apply yourself. And as you apply yourself, you learn, you grow, and you develop.
Okay, that's wonderful advice, Frede. Thank you. And speaking of, the interview is now officially complete. So I wanted to thank you for your time and for sharing your personal experience with us at Ennomotive. And we loved having you. Wanted to wish you the best of luck, and that we look forward to hearing from you again and very soon.
That's good, Alexander.